Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Corey. When we were tasked with coming up with topics for today's Drug Master File session, we were inspired by our Drug Master File workshop that we gave with SBIA in 2021 and the feedback that we've received from all of you since then. Excuse me. And with that in mind, we have some straightforward and actionable but impactful items for you to consider as you submit Drug Master Files to facilitate assessment. So we'll start off with discussing factors that can facilitate assessment of Type 2 Drug Master Files. In OPQ, pharmaceutical quality and our mission are at the forefront of our minds each day. And even though I won't be discussing pharmaceutical quality on each slide specifically, items in these slides, if you consider them, will help us to assess the pharmaceutical quality of your Type 2 Drug Master File. So with that, the objectives for this talk are to help facilitate assessment of your Type 2 Drug Master File by learning to identify items that DMF holders can include in their submissions. Likewise, including identifying items that ANDA applicants can include to help assessment of Drug Master Files. And recognizing missing information in Drug Master Files that, if provided, can help with the assessment of your DMF. A couple of housekeeping items before we get into the rest of the talk. When I say Drug Master File, I'm referring to Type 2 Drug Master Files for drug substance. And I'm not discussing the completeness assessment guidance, but that is a helpful place to start. And so this is kind of after you've addressed everything in the completeness assessment guidance, these items that we'll discuss today kind of take the submission one step further. So if you've never submitted a Drug Master File, or if you're new to Type 2 Drug Master Files, the completeness assessment guidance is a good place to start. So first we'll start with identifying the items that Drug Master File holders can include. Specifically, my first item is the workhorse form of the DMF world, FDA Form 3938. This is a fillable form that is used for all Drug Master File submissions. It includes all administrative aspects of the Drug Master File, including contact information, facilities, referenced DMFs, etc. It expedites information processing because we know where to find all of the information that is related to your Drug Master File submission. And this file can be found on the DMF submission resources page that I've linked here and looks like what I've shown on the slide. And even though I just finished saying that I'll only be talking about Type 2 Drug Master Files, I want to point out that this Form 3938 can be submitted with any type of Drug Master File, types 2, 3, 4, or 5, and is very helpful and valuable in these submissions. With structured information in mind, we also have been seeing an increase in the structured data file submissions to Type 2 Drug Master Files over the last several years. These are chemical structure files that are in a mole connection table format, and they provide unambiguous chemical structure information to expedite assessment. And they look like what's shown on the right side of the slide. This is helpful to us since when you're preparing your Drug Master File, you are creating chemical structures. And so instead of duplicating work upon assessment, we can use these structured data files in our own assessment. It ensures that the structure that you intend for us to assess is the one that we're assessing. If you've never submitted an SD file, I've linked to a quick guide that we created several years ago that can be used to help you in these submissions. When submitting amendments to your Drug Master Files, it's very helpful to include a summary of changes. These summary of changes are particularly useful when they're in a tabular format because it clearly helps us to focus on the updates that are included in a given amendment, so the changes since the last time you submitted. Some section headers, some column headers that I've shown here that would be very helpful to include in such a table are section, the current parameters, the change that you've made or proposed, and a justification. And obviously, a table can't really allow you to include a lot of data and a lot of justification, so more detail can be included outside this summary table. But the summary table helps us to focus on the changes that you intend for us to assess related to your drug master file. And this justification is particularly useful to us. It allows, if you explain and justify the change, including providing data as part of the justification and discussing risk to the process or the quality, it helps us with our assessment. Some things that are helpful to submit when making a change can be found in this draft guidance for industry on post-approval changes to drug substance. So this guidance suggests some data for the given type of change and ways to discuss risk. So those were items that DMF holders can submit to help us with assessment. And applicants likewise can submit certain things to help us in our assessment of the drug master file and to help expedite review. And in the realm of structured data, Form 356H, which I'm sure you're all aware of, is very helpful to us in that it lists the drug master files that should be considered for each application. So this form that I've linked here is submitted with an ANDA, and it includes all of the referencing information. So things like drug master file number or drug substance facilities are included on there. And this helps us to identify related information for us to assess in order to approve an application. Please assure that all of the DMF numbers are accurate and in this form, and please include all of the drug substance facilities so that we can assess the facilities and other information in a timely manner. Along with this, when a supplement is submitted to an ANDA, changes to a drug master file that if changes to a drug master file cause the changes to the ANDA supplement, it's very helpful to include that information in the cover letter. So oftentimes the applicant will summarize the information on the changes. It's very helpful if you make it clear that the changes are related to a specific drug master file. Also, including the drug master file number is particularly helpful to us. So oftentimes in the cover letter, it may say what the holder's name is or the facility information, but please do also include the drug master file number, as that helps clearly indicate your intentions for these supplemental changes. Likewise, so sometimes the DMF number is missing from a cover letter, whereas also occasionally missing information from drug master files, where if it is provided can help facilitate the DMF assessment. One of these items is a letter of authorization. So these letters give another party the right to reference your drug master file. They're submitted to a referenced DMF. They're submitted in a referenced DMF with a copy in the referencing ANDA or DMF. These files are necessary for us to review the drug master file. They're so important that we have a separate talk coming up next from Deborah Johnson to give you more information on using these letters of authorization. And just a quick note about these, we often note that letters of authorization are included in the drug master file at the time of completeness assessment, but often when we do discover an LOA that is missing, it happens later, so after the completeness assessment. So please do continue to update your letters of authorization over time. Impurities are often very well discussed in drug master files, but some items for you to consider are, when considering organic impurities, a fate and purge discussion with data is very helpful so that we understand your rationale for the way that you're controlling the impurities in the drug master file. That really helps us to assess the control strategy and to assure that we are on the same page. When providing justifications or data, we recommend that you consider the documents, the ICH Q3A, ICH M7, the USP monograph, and nitrosamines. I've linked to the nitrosamines website here. This includes links to the guidances for small molecules and NDSRIs, as well as gives updated information on the nitrosamine control strategies and information from the agency. Related to impurities, it's helpful if you include and consider the maximum daily dose when submitting your type 2 drug master file. This can be obtained from the drug product label for your referencing applications, and it's helpful to consider all of the referencing applications that you intend to use. It's important because this affects the impurity limits per ICH Q3A and ICH M7. And for more information on how to determine a maximum daily dose, you can refer to Melanie Mueller's talk from yesterday's generic drug forum, where she goes into much more detail than I can here today. Facilities information in the drug master file is very helpful for us to have at the beginning. So as I mentioned earlier, it's helpful that the ANDA applicants submit all of the facilities information, and likewise, that starts with the drug master file holder submitting the information. So please do list all facilities used in your DMF in 3.2.S.2.1 and relay those facilities to the referencing applicants. It's also helpful if that section has the function of the facilities listed so it's clear what is happening at each facility. This ensures that we can have timely evaluation of the facilities related to your drug master file. These can also be submitted in FDA Form 3938, Section 9, as shown here. And again, this form really helps to assure that we know where to look for the facilities, so please consider submission. When responding to a letter, such as an IR or a CR, it is very helpful to have timely responses. Updating sections 3.2.S related to any changes that you're making in your response, and FDA Form 3938 is also very helpful. So when you respond to the CR or IR, responding fully to each question is helpful, and then referring back to the 3.2.S section in which the change is being made really helps the assessor to focus, and it allows us to, when 3.2.S is not updated, we will often send a letter asking you to do so. So this saves time so that we have fewer back and forth communications. And so that allows us to continue on with our assessment to support the referencing ANDA. It's also helpful in Form 3938 to indicate that it is a response to a letter. So there is in Section 7 a box that you can check to indicate that it's a CR response or deficiency or IR response. For secondary DMFs, these are very helpful for us to identify very early in the review cycle. This is a reference to another DMF, and it should be very clearly indicated. We recommend that you include this information on the cover sheet for your drug master file, as well as in Form 3938, Section 10. This is helpful because if the information is available to us in the beginning, we know whether we have to assess the secondary DMF as well as the primary DMF. And Madhu will talk about this later in the session. So please stay tuned for his talk. Prior assessment requests are a relatively new submission type to the agency. These are requests for assessment before the ANDA is received per GDUFA 3. These DMFs should meet the criteria that are listed in the commitment letter and also available in the guidance for industry that I've linked here. These are DMFs that have not had a substantive review done previously and, again, meet the criteria. In the appendix of this guidance, there's a full list of information that should be provided from both the applicant and the DMF holder, but submitted to the DMF from the DMF holder. So please do consult that appendix before submitting your prior assessment request. And the reason for this is this allows us to respond quickly and in a timely manner to your request for this prior assessment. If information is missing, then there will be some back and forth communications requesting the missing information. So if you refer to this guidance appendix, it's particularly helpful. So as we get close to wrapping up, I have a challenge question for you. So if you're in the room, please raise your hand when I say the right answer. Submission of FDA Form 3938 allows us to easily identify the need for assessment of which of the following? A, a response to a letter. B, reference to secondary DMFs. C, drug substance facilities. And D, all of the above. So who thinks it's A? B, C, or D? Yes. So as I mentioned in the beginning, 3938 is particularly helpful to us in a number of ways. So everyone in the room got that question correct. I hope everyone online was thinking along the same lines, and that you will consider to use Form FDA 3938 in your submissions to any type of drug master file that you're submitting to the agency. So as we reach conclusion, I want to provide some resources for you to look at. So in addition to the things that we discussed today, the Drug Master File website is helpful, and it links to the submission resources website. So this has things like the 3938 form, as well as the quick guide to SD file submission. This draft guidance for industry on drug master files has a lot of information that is helpful to consider in your submissions. And for information on the referencing applications and the MDDs, you can refer to the FDA labels. And then finally, I mentioned the guidance for industry, but we didn't talk about it in detail on completeness assessments for type 2 API DMFs under GDUFA. And this provides a checklist of all of the items that should be concluded in order for us to start assessment of a type 2 drug master file. So to summarize, providing explanations and justifications in your submission really helps us to assess your drug master file. It assures that we understand your thinking and can properly assess the DMF. Improving communication between the agency and the DMF holder, as well as the DMF holder and the ANDA applicant, can lead to gains in review assessment. So this increased communication can save time. And including FDA Form 3938 in each submission really clarifies multiple points and helps us to know all of the information accurately and in an up-to-date manner for your drug master file. So with that, thank you for attending my talk, and I'm happy to answer any questions during the panel discussion. And I'll turn it over to Deborah Johnson to talk about letters of authorization.